My name's Justin Edelman, and this is the Warthog bike, or the Warthog Express. Actually, this is the second one. Okay, so I was uh, I was actually in the military first, and then when I was in the military, I used to take a ton of photos and video, and I'd make videos for my buddies. And I never put two and two together. At least it's like, oh, you can make a living doing this. It wasn't until I got out of the military and I actually started modeling for a little while, and these people were like, "Oh, you're so great in front of the camera." And then somebody one day came up to me and was like, a great way to work in front of the camera is actually to work behind the camera, so you can meet all the people who make the videos or the films, and then they'll hire you." And I was like, "Well, why don't I just do that?" Like that's I like doing that, so that's how I got into filmmaking. As far as the captions go on my Instagram, really there's two parts to it. One is I'm actually a filmmaker by trade. That's what I do for a living. Same with photography. And so storytelling is just sort of part of who I am at this point. But the other thing is that a lot of us ride motorcycles as our throttle therapy or therapy. And when I bought a Pan America, it was sort of the beginning of a part of my life where I feel like I've gone through a lot of self-healing. And honestly, Instagram has sort of been my diary as part of that process. And, riding the motorcycle, obviously, it's like when you're having a bad day or, you're just trying to clear your mind, or you're trying to like wrap your mind around something in your life that you're like healing from or dealing with or whatever. A motorcycle is a great way to do that. I mean, honestly, I didn't really know what adventure riding was. I also, to be completely candid, was never interested in Harleys. Like to me, a Harley was like slow, old technology, not very maneuverable. And then they came out with this bike, and I was like, man, that thing looks so cool. And I like the idea that like you can go on the dirt, or you can also take it on the pavement. And as a filmmaker and a photographer, it was a very like utility mentality. It was like I could strap my tripod to this thing, and then I could bring all my camera gear, and I could like go up on a hill that's made of dirt and then shoot down on everybody. And so like this was sort of like a utility vehicle for me. And then I got into adventure riding and realized what it was really all about. And I bought the Pan America, and I haven't looked back since. I love it. It's super fun. I bought a 2021 Pan America. It was a first year bike that came with its whole slew of problems, because you just should never buy a first year bike. But overall, it was like a really fun bike. I worked out the kinks, had a good time on it. And then I ended up getting a 22, which is back there. And I have just been taking these bikes everywhere, and I garnered the attention of Harley. And then Harley at some point started hiring me to do video and photography, because I got good enough, actually really good at riding off-road, to the point that I could jump up ahead of people and take photos. So they started hiring me to do that, which was really cool. And then last year they said, hey, we want to give you a Pan America, and we want to give you a little bit of an update since you've had these other ones. And I got this up at Yellowstone Harley-Davidson, and I actually had a dream that I was gonna build my bike with all the things that I wanted on it. I think a couple like standout details you can see right off the bat is like the saddleman seat. It's really like not very traditional on an off-road bike or a Pan America for sure. A couple other like advancements that I always recommend for people on these bikes is the foot pegs and the skid plate. That's pretty important when you're off-road. That really makes a big difference on the handling of the bike off-road. And then obviously the skid plate to protect your motor. And then of course, I'm sure we're all waiting to hear me say it, but the G-brakes, that's actually a performance upgrade that was made on this bike. As far as the quality goes, I mean, this is the top tier. I mean, it's the best in the industry by far. If you're off-road, you're riding the hell out of those brakes, especially downhill. And so they definitely heat up. And having these brakes, these discs, and the brake pads has eliminated a lot of that kind of brake fade and just the power. I mean, immediately when I switched over the discs and kind of broke it in a little bit, it would almost stop as I was going. And I think it's great to have everything being engineered here in the United States, and there's a lot of thought being put into the twin market, and it's just they're thinking about people that I think sometimes get overlooked.